Facilities Management. Director Reardon, the floor is yours.
Joining me today is Vivian Alexander, Chief
Good
Operating
morning.
Officer, and Lauren Stahl, Assistant Director and Chief Financial Officer. Also in the audience are several members of the leadership team who have contributed to the accomplishments that we are proud to discuss today and who will help achieve the 2019 initiatives. The mission statement of Public Facilities Management, also known as PFM, is delineated on this slide. PFM is an agency with duties and responsibilities which support all county offices and agencies and their public users on a daily basis, whether delivering basic services such as housekeeping or facilities maintenance, or when developing and implementing long-term strategies and projects. PFM continually collaborates with other entities. Our primary role is to provide support services that help county offices and agencies successfully carry out their mission. Commissioners, PFM is strongly committed to continually exemplifying an at-your-service philosophy to our building residents and visitors, where quality customer service, responsiveness, professionalism, and proactive communication is the expectation. Today, we will discuss PFM's 2018 accomplishments and, more importantly, focus on our goals and initiatives for 2019. Over the first few months after being named director this year, I reviewed PFM's existing organizational structure and management vacancies, and in turn, developed a proposed overall restructuring plan. The goal of this major organizational restructuring was to enhance operational efficiency and effectiveness, customer service, accountability with facility and financial management, and strategic planning. With the support of this board and county administration, the proposed plan has been implemented, and I am excited that the PFM senior management team is now in place. In 2018, I am especially proud of our enhanced focus on providing quality customer service to and solidifying positive relationships with county offices and agencies. We also expanded emphasis on proactive communication and responsiveness with building residents. I am confident that this new organizational structure and leadership team will effectively position our agency for the long term. Now I will turn it over to Lauren Stahl to discuss 2018 accomplishments for the sustainability program.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. Now to the sustainability program. Just a little side note, this picture was taken by actually Charlie Hoddle here in our staff, so we thought it was a great picture. And this is of the Hendron Road Pollinator Garden.
Really nice.
Been there.
Your core principles stated in Resolution 432-17 emphasize our commitment to promote good stewardship of our environmental resources and sustainability. PFM has many opportunities to be a leader in this arena. PFM promotes most activities on an ongoing basis, but implemented new or returning initiatives in 2018. One of the important initiatives that we have proudly resumed in 2018 in partnership with AVI Food Systems is the composting program with the local firm Innovative Organics. So far this year, we have composted 4 tons of food waste, which equates to an equivalent metric ton CO2 savings of 324 gallons of gasoline. Some other important information to note is in 2018, we continued the recycling of paper, reused 204 pieces of furniture, and recycled about 400 tons of various materials. As you can see on this graph, the tons of fiber recycled has declined, but this is a positive. The yearly downward trend is due to conservation education and new technology allowing county offices and agencies to create processes such as e-filing that use less paper. Over 225 tons of recycled fiber was diverted from the landfill, thereby reducing our carbon footprint by taking the equivalent of 180 vehicles off the highway. The next slide references our monthly resolution for disposal of information technology equipment identified as obsolete and available for recycling by the Franklin County Automatic Data Processing Board. In 2018 thus far, we have recycled approximately 31 tons of equipment through our partnership with Goodwill Industries, reducing our carbon footprint by taking the equivalent of 16 vehicles off the highway. Here are some other accomplishments, such as continued support for the 2 county pollinator gardens and International Harvest and Mound Street Gardens. We have also collaborated with Fleet Management and now manage a pool car fleet of 1 completely electric plug-in vehicle, 3 hybrid vehicles, and 3 plug-in hybrid vehicles. And now to the general amenities accomplishments. We provided services for over 1,450 reservations for event space and meeting rooms. In addition, we have produced 632 in-house signs throughout county buildings and improved safety and efficiencies through updated technologies. Next, we will recap our technology-based actions. Technology implemented by PFM is critical to county operations and allows us to work in a safe, productive, and efficient environment. PFM is continually auditing our accounts to identify saving opportunities. PFM negotiated a Centrax contract and consolidated lines on the county phone system, saving approximately $50,000 per year on an ongoing basis. We expanded fiber bandwidth at multiple facilities to offer improved service and redundancy. We collaborated with Adam Luckhop, CIO for the Board of Commissioners and Data Center, to provide uninterruptible power supply UPS devices to county network switches. We collaborated with OMB and Public Affairs to provide free CODA bus passes for participating county agencies and their employees, and there are currently 26 participating agencies that can provide unlimited access to the CODA bus system. We collaborated with Franklin County Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court and Pizzuti Solutions to enhance security for court staff and visitors with installation of additional access controls, panic alarms, and cameras that will be completed by early 2019. At Memorial Hall, PFM is currently undertaking a project to replace all existing analog cameras to the current standard of IP cameras to enhance security video coverage. Now I'll turn it over to Vivian Alexander to discuss some of the 2018 safety accomplishments.
Good morning, Commissioners. During the fiscal year 2018, we focused on enhancing the safety program, which included increasing the number of safety trainings for staff. We have also added equipment, materials, and training for the safety team members. In addition, we have developed, implemented, and trained safety team members on a new total building evacuation map and system message for this tower and the Judicial Services building. PFM's Operations Division is the agency's lead in providing professional facility services, which impact county employees and building visitors on a daily basis. They are constantly faced with the challenge of balancing the need to respond to everyday requests for assistance and unanticipated issues, while also forecasting and scheduling necessary preventative maintenance actions for county facilities. As you can see, over 30,000 work requests so far this year that PFM has responded to as the county's property manager for almost 4 million square feet of space is substantial. We also routinely explore opportunities for additional savings, such as with utilities. For example, the IGS Energy Agreement will save an estimated $150,000 over the term of the agreement, while providing the county with electricity that is 100% renewable. Also, we have listed a few projects that have been completed by PFM staff for partner agencies. PFM has eliminated 6 existing maintenance and service agreements that will now be performed by PFM's skilled staff, which will realize over $55,000 in savings in 2019. Also, PFM completed an update of the Ben Franklin Cafe and interior and exterior enhancements to Memorial Hall, while still preserving the building's historic character. Regarding the construction program, the list of projects is a combination of large and small dollar activities, from repaving projects to performing critical building maintenance to renovations of existing space. While not an all-inclusive list, here are some 2018 Capital Improvement Plan CIP projects that reflect the level of engagement and effort that PFM exerts to meet the needs of county offices and agencies, and to perform critical building preservation actions, which are typically behind-the-scenes initiatives. We are always taking steps to extend the life of county buildings by performing necessary preventative maintenance tasks and sustaining building systems. A few examples of the 2018 CIP projects include the Board of Elections chiller replacement, Court of Appeals and Clerk of Court space renovation projects, and preventative electrical switchgear maintenance for this tower. We have initiated various facility preservation studies to assess long-term critical facility needs and estimated costs. Also, the CIP included an update to the county's master plan. In 2018, Pizzuti Solutions was retained to complete this master plan update. The first priority was to work with the Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court to accommodate the addition of a new judge beginning January 2019. Construction is well underway for the spaces required to support this new judge, and the project will be complete by year-end. An update of the county's master plan will be an ongoing project in 2019, with preliminary budget estimates to be received soon that will be discussed with the board. Other notable construction projects in 2018 included roof replacements at the Board of Elections building, the JFS East Opportunity Center, and the completion of the first phase of this building's elevator modernization project, including drawings and engineering. We are about to begin the second phase, which involves individual elevator car modernization to minimize disruption of service. This phase project will be ongoing. We also completed various renovations funded by other agencies and parking garage improvements. As we hope you can see, PFM has been very busy with a diverse group of projects managed by our PFM construction project managers, and now we will discuss the major construction projects, including the new Forensic Science Center and Correction Center. Thank you.
Ew.
As an update for the new Forensic Science Center, located on Frank Road, there has been significant progress in 2018. Specifically, the design development phase has been completed. An amendment number 1 was executed with Corna Kokosing Elford to provide construction services that included construction work for 8 bid packages totaling about $6 million. The groundbreaking and construction mobilization occurred in the fall of 2018. A second amendment to provide additional construction work for several bid packages is anticipated to be presented to the board in late 2018, with the remaining construction work to be awarded in early 2019. The project is on track to achieve the established Small and Emerging Business Enterprise, the SEBE, aspirational goal of 14%, and PFM will be engaging Dr. Bill Lafayette of Regionomics to conduct an economic impact study for this project comparable to that which has been provided for the new Correction Center. As an update for the new Correction Center project located on Fisher Road, there has been substantial progress and construction is well underway. Through October 31st, 2018, 21 contracts have been awarded to various construction trades for a total of about $134.7 million. Additional contracts are still anticipated to be presented to the board yet this year. For each contract that has come before the board this year for this project, PFM has prepared and presented a summary including specific scope of work, number of bids received, contract value, purchase order amount, firm's location and signatory status, percentage and dollar amount committed for SEBE participation, and number of jobs anticipated to be created at peak. The project is on track to achieve the established SEBE aspirational goal of 12%. Achieving SEBE participation has been a key focus and collaborative effort for the entire project team, including the construction inclusion team, the CIT. As of October 31st, the projected SEBE participation percentage is 21.98%, which represents approximately $29.6 million in commitment to SEBEs. Please note, the participation percentage is subject to change as additional contracts are yet to be awarded and may be in specialized trades with historically low participation. For this project, we have engaged Dr. Bill Lafayette of Regionomics to conduct an economic impact study for each contract awarded and for the cumulative impact. As Dr. Lafayette presented at General Session yesterday, impacts to date are $203.3 million in production and spending, $50.2 million in earnings, 960 jobs sustained, and $118.2 million in long-term value added. Around 21% of that comes from and through SEBEs. Also, we are pleased to announce that the county assisted Dr. Lafayette with certifying his company Regionomics as an LGBTQ firm. Here's a photo of the construction site taken at the end of October. PFM has exhibited a concerted effort to identify small and emerging business enterprises that could possibly provide materials and services during 2018. PFM has been tracking all purchase orders over $1,000 and including cooperative purchasing agreements and contract resolutions. The total amount awarded to SEBEs in 2018 through the third quarter was approximately $17.1 million out of $89.2 million awarded, which equates to 19.2%. While the calculation includes prime contracts, please note this does not include any SEBE participation committed through subcontracts for the new Correction Center and Forensic Science Center, which would represent additional participation. While we are proud of our 2018 accomplishments, it's been a very busy year.
And there have been many.
PFM has shifted focus to our new 2019 goals in continuing to deliver best-in-class services to support county offices and agencies. PFM has submitted a results-oriented budget that responds to the board's strategic policy objectives.
In 2019, for the Sustainability Program, PFM will continue in our role as a lead agency in promoting sustainable practices and policies. In particular, with a large focus on working with MORPC and other county agencies regarding the implementation of the Sustainable 2050 program. For technology-based initiatives, again next year, we will be leveraging new technology in the support of securing cost efficiencies and enhancing customer service for all county offices and agencies. There will be a particular focus on enhancing redundancy and security.
PFM is placing a significant focus in 2019 on enhancing the safety program and will be providing expanded training to county staff to prepare for emergencies. In 2019, we will also be focusing on ensuring our staff continue their safety education and training through the courses listed. PFM will continue its standard of excellence in customer service and communication with county offices and agencies. We will continue to identify opportunities to expand small and emerging business enterprise SEBE participation. We will be increasing utilize technology and electronic processes to improve business efficiencies and promote sustainable practices. Staff will continue to evaluate contracts during the 2019 to utilize PFM staff and realize cost savings. Ensure that training opportunities will be provided to staff in the operations of building systems and processes. PFM will also continue providing quality customer service as we advance construction projects for the county offices and agencies. Additionally, we will continue to identify opportunities to expand small and emerging business enterprise SEBE participation for construction projects. The major construction projects, the new Correction Center, Forensic Science Center, will require ongoing PFM oversight and contract administration in conjunction with the contract construction team. We will work with Pizzuti Solutions regarding the update to the county's master plan and implementation of next steps. We will present a 2019 capital improvement plan, CIP, to the Board of Commissioners and then manage the approved construction building preservation projects.
Regarding our expense budget, the general fund budget met the 2019 allowable baseline per the requirements of the Office of Management and Budget. Regarding other non-general funds, the Public Safety Center Fund, which includes funding for the Forensic Science Center, and the Correction Center Bond Fund, were calculated based upon the 2019 cash flow projections provided by the construction teams. The telecommunications and parking funds are based upon anticipated 2019 operational expenses. The parking bond fund includes the remaining bond funds for planned parking garage improvements. This chart demonstrates the total budget of $50 million for projects in the Facility Preservation Bond Fund, such as the roof replacements for the Franklin County Office Tower, JFS Northland Opportunity Center, the Board of Elections Building, and the JFS East Opportunity Center, the Elevator Modernization Project, reconfiguration for the addition of courtrooms with the Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, security enhancements for the Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, an East Opportunity Center generator for 100% redundancy, and reserve funding for potential facility preservation projects to be identified through multiple ongoing facility studies of our critical infrastructure and implementation of the master plan recommendations. Lastly, we would like to publicly thank our PFM staff for their continued hard work and to express our appreciation for the support provided by the Board of Commissioners and County Administration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we still your favorite agency?
No, you're not.
Moving on to the next department.
Kay's got a better
Are
shot.
there any comments or questions?
With the elevator modernization, can you talk about the time frame to get it completed?
Yes, it is a several-year project. We just finished year one with the designs and the engineering. We're actually going to start working on the low-rise elevators. Those service floors 3 through 6. And the current schedule has 7 elevators to be completed in 2019. Now, it's important to note that at any one time in a particular elevator bank, those which we call the low-rise, the mid-rise, and the high-rise, would only have one elevator out at a time to minimize service disruption. But at times, there will be multiple crews working in the multiple banks. In 2020, 8 elevators would be completed, and then in early 2021, the last elevator. So there's 16 total, and this is a very important project. It's critical to maintaining safety,
Right.
And we're going to do the best we can to minimize service disruption for our building residents.
And that's helpful, knowing that you're only going to have one set of elevators, or one elevator out at a time as you're doing the work will minimize the disruption, I think.
And each car is individually done and takes months to complete, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
You mentioned a lot about reducing waste, reusing materials and recycling materials.
Is there a number that you could have on that to quantify that? Because I would guess it's a lot, you know. And so, have you quantified that into savings?
You mean in terms of?
In terms of
Dollars?
you guys had this particular slide where you had mentioned, disposing of paper and going electronic to reusing furniture. And is there just a cost savings? I'm just curious, is there like a number to that?
I think
If you don't have it, you can just get it to me another time. It's not a big deal. I'm just curious. Seemed like it would be
We do have a recycling revenue, so we can get that number to you today, what the net revenue was last year and what we've received thus far this year.
all right. I'm just curious. And then also, I didn't hear you mention the word facilities master planning. Now I know embedded in what you were saying is a lot of that, but are you what you don't know about what the facilities master plan will come up with for 2019 or beyond? How are you going to manage that in terms of resources? Or is there anything that you anticipate coming that could require additional resources in the short term?
Well, with the capital improvement plan, we anticipate delivering that in mid-2019, which, I think, what's an important piece is we're doing a number of ongoing facility preservation studies, looking at our critical infrastructure. For example, in this tower, which is about to turn 30 years old, just like at your house, there are big pieces to be looked at. Obviously, we're already looking at the roof and the elevator, but we're investigating the electrical, the HVAC, and the domestic water and critical pieces. So we feel like it's important to bring the capital improvement plan at the time that we have estimates and we understand what life is left in some of those and how it can be phased over time. Also, waiting to get the recommendations from the county's master plan in terms of space needs for the long term, and then to look at those very globally or in a holistic approach to understand what are our facilities and critical infrastructure needs and what are our space needs, and work with the board and with county administration about the financial needs there, the priorities, and where that funding would come from, the CIP, meaning the general fund construction, or the facility preservation bond fund, or another
But it
source.
sounds like essentially you're saying you don't anticipate at any 2019 big changes from the master plan, probably sometime beyond.
I think it would be beyond. I mean, we will obviously have a 2019 capital improvement plan, but some of the significant projects that we're talking about, both in terms of potential space needs that would come out of the master plan and critical infrastructure, like the elevator, would be, phased and lengthy projects, so.
So, Darla, let me ask a
That
couple
helps.
questions, if I could, to follow up on some of the questions that Commissioner Boyce has asked me. So when you guys do the CIP, how many years out do you guys look when you do the CIP?
It is a 5-year plan.
And-
So there are some like, for example, in 2018, knowing that we were going into a facilities master plan review of space needs, we were really focused on some facility preservation activities, those projects that you saw up there. While there were some space renovations, it was heavily focused on facility preservation. For example, electrical switchgear, preventive maintenance here, or replacing the heating hot water pumps. Into 2019, we have items, but again, we believe we need to see globally what these studies would indicate in terms of substantial critical facility preservation needs and master plan needs to make sure we're putting forward a CIP that makes the most sense for the needs.
And a
So
couple
it's always
follow-up,
evolving.
questions or thoughts to that. And so our master planner, our campus master planner, Pizzuti, obviously helps facilitate those, they help with the information, obviously a lot of the information that we need to do the CIP. They're the consultant that we use to do this, and so obviously we use them a great deal and rely on them a great deal with this information, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then second, or another follow-up question is, the rating agencies, the CIP that we do, this is a critical piece of information that they look at when they're doing when they're rating us. Is that not true, Ken?
Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. Commissioner O'Grady, President Boyce, Commissioner Brown, yes, that is typically something we provide during the rating process. It's particularly important, specifically our most recent bond issuance. $50 million of the issuance was dedicated to capital improvements. So during that time, we outlined what those plans were and talked about projects such as the elevator modernization and the roof projects. The preservation of resource of your infrastructure is very important in
So-
planning for those expenditures.
When I was in my first term, the new commissioner, the matter of fact, the very first time, I had a conversation with then County Administrator Don Brown about the CIP in 2009. We talked about Veterans Memorial and all of the problems with the auditorium and the large expense with the maintenance and upkeep, in particular with the chillers on the roof, and there's a huge the elevators then, and the stage maintenance and all of the expenses that were coming, and the projections for the multi-million-dollar expense of the upkeep of Veterans Memorial. back in those days. And so the CIP, my very first experience with the CIP as a brand new commissioner, was what led to the conversations about, you know, how we were going to continue to afford Veterans Memorial at the time. And so then the subsequent conversations with Guy Worley and, you know, what we should, you know, what could then become of all of that. And, Commissioner Brown and I, and the continued conversations to where we ended up many years later, and all the work that, you know, Deputy Administrator Long and others that are sitting around here had to then put in. So this is your questions are very kind of poignant and prescient for the what we're doing here today, and this work that's done. I mean, it's every year when we sit here and we talk about the CIP, it takes me all the way back to my very first months as a county commissioner, and the CIP every year is kind of a big deal. The capital improvements plan that we do, and how much work goes into it, and how many hours that these folks put into it, because it's a long range vision of what really needs to go into all the things that we, you know, that get done around here. And you know, here we just over the last few months have seen the you know, the work and what comes from all of that. And so you know, it's a big deal. So thanks for all the work that you guys put into it.
Thank you. It's nice to see a team working the way you are, and putting everything together. The customer service element of what you do is certainly essential, and you've taken that on in a big way. And thank you for that, because we have not gotten some of the calls that we used to get, and you know, that's helpful, because the response that your team and you have given around the county to our residents of the buildings is impressive. So thank you.
Even if he can't decide whether or not you're his favorite department.
The other thing I was going to go back to the master planning, though, part of that is the logic of the evolution of Franklin County as well. I mean, you got new judges, you got new elected officials, and so forth. And so I was just trying to make sure that if there was going to be some new recommendations out of the master planning efforts, that we were budgeting appropriately, since we don't know what it's going to be necessarily. We know a lot of the maintenance issues, but we don't know, you know, some of the other things that are coming about, like logistics and whatnot. And so I just wanted to make sure we were thinking about but it sounds like we're good for 2019. It will probably be the coming years of the CIP that are more, we need to be more thoughtful about, or we may have some adjustments. We may adjust to the CIP.
Right.
It's always evolving. Well, Commissioner O'Grady referenced how many years. It's 5 years, and even last year when we brought it forward, it had, you know, 2019 and out years are always, you know, potential projects that have been carried, you know, year to year, depending on priorities change, issues come up. When we bring forward the CIP, you're approving funding for that year. So the projects that we listed, while there was a list of several years out, the funding of approximately $5 million was based on 2018. So the same thing with 2019. We will bring a specific list, which would then be under supplemental appropriation consideration at a later time in the year.
Okay. So don't move, because we have a speaker, that someone's filled out a speaker slip, so we'll allow the speaker, and they may have questions that you might be able to help us answer. So I have Jennifer Mankin, if you want to come to the microphone. Ms. Mankin, the rules are that if you could state your name and, does she need to say her address, or just her name? Just her name? Just your name, and if you represent anyone, We'd ask that you keep your remarks to 3 minutes, and I don't know if we've got, Tyler, you get the clock there? 3 minutes, and then if you please could refrain from any obscenity, commercial advertising, defamation, or slander, and we'd ask that you just conduct yourself in order. That's the rules. I have to read them. I didn't make that up. They're on the sheet. So, Ms. Mankin, welcome to the Board of Commissioners.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. I'm here, my name is Jennifer Mankin. I'm here representing the Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee. I specifically wanted to talk about the portion of the budget that is addressing the Common Pleas Court and the Sheriff's Office Department. So, I would fully recommend on behalf of my organization that we defund that as much as possible. I just want to read some statistics and notes that I've put together. You know, carceral mentality, the idea that we are going to continue to put people in prison and catch them in the acts of crime is not going to change or change our world or increase safety. It hasn't yet. It's never going to. Between 2013 and 2017, there were 28 homicides. This was the Columbus Police Department. 21 of them were black men. Since the 1980s, the rampant increase in overpolicing and including the militarization of our police forces has directly contributed to the U.S. being the leading incarcerator in the world, despite it having only a fifth of the world's population. It's led to another spike in death and destruction against those who are marginalized and oppressed. Only 13% of the U.S. population is black, and yet 28% of people killed by police are black. African American adults are 5 times more likely to be imprisoned than white Americans. African Americans are twice as likely as their white counterparts to have a family member imprisoned at some point during their childhood. Overall incarceration rates are more than 500% higher than they were 40 years ago. Black millennials and post-millennials are at greater risk of contact with the system than any previous generation. In fact, a new analysis has found that 1 in 4 black millennials has an incarcerated loved one before they even turn 18. For those born in the early 1990s, the rate is almost 1 in 3. So lest we may be misled by the idea that diversifying the police force or increasing funding to the Sheriff's Department or to our court system is going to end structural racism within our criminal and justice system. Let me just note that recent studies have shown that when we take into account disparities in employment diversity in our criminal and justice system, black cops actually kill and incarcerate black people at higher rates than white cops. The reality is that policing and the court systems themselves are broken, just as an institution as well as a mentality of punishing people and punitive retribution as opposed to transformational justice and restorative justice. So I hope that you will keep these things in mind as you review the budget, and that we will look for other ways to spend our money. Incarcerated people are mistreated at extremely high rates.
I'm going to ask you to conclude.
Yeah, on a regular basis. So our system has done nothing to help the families of incarcerated people or to help the communities in which they live in. Sexual assault victims, domestic assault victims, and this is the last statement I'll make, actually are incarcerated at higher rates than their abusers. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your testimony today. I just want to make sure you didn't have a question in there. You were pretty much making a statement.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Do you have that statement that you can provide to our clerk's office so that we can just have?
I mean, I can email it. I don't have a printout.
That'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank
And Ms. Mankin, I just want to say too, and commend you for coming down and being part. This is your institution. the Franklin County is, as a citizen, a resident of Franklin County, this is your institution, and so I value and appreciate you taking the time to come and share your thoughts about some of the work we're doing, so I appreciate that. Your perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions or comments for Public Facilities Management or Director Reardon? No? Okay, thank you so much for testimony.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Next
guys.
up is Animal Control.
Favorite department?
That's
No,
right.
they're not my favorite. PFM's my favorite department.